The world isn't black or white. It is like it is shades of gray. And the reason things aren't happening are probably have nothing to do with what you're thinking about. It is something completely different. It is, we need to focus more energy on this 3PL expansion. It has nothing to do with this landing page you want to test, right? It's just it's more about how much like thought and like just brain power can be spread across the various things that these brands need to do.
Yeah. And thank you for summarizing. That would probably be like the core skill that I've acquired over the last 3 years or so, is understanding how to move organizations and make change, and particularly around, right, AI.
Honest Ecommerce is a weekly podcast where we interview direct-to-consumer brand founders and leaders to find out what it takes to start, grow, and scale an online business today. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Honest Ecommerce. Today, I'm welcoming to the show the marketing and e-commerce leader at an amazing brand, New York & Company. They are at the forefront of AI-driven commerce. She is helping the brand win with an increasingly personalized digital-first approach. Laura Cantor, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chase. That was a nice introduction.
Absolutely. Well, you helped me write it by writing it for me. A little inside baseball for everybody else out there. People definitely share a lot of details with me as we do these episodes. But let's just talk a little bit about New York & Company. What are the types of products that you are bringing to market over there, the things that you guys are selling?
Yeah, we sell women's apparel and footwear, classic e-commerce play. It, has a lot of help with, being up at night, needing a new outfit, seeing something you like, clicking and purchasing. So, we use a lot of tactics around making those clothes look really attractive and, filling a need for a woman where she needs to be. What I like about New York & Company is it serves so many different occasions in a woman's life, and particularly apparel. I've just always been drawn to the way an outfit, a piece of clothing can really change who you are as a woman, as a person. Beauty is a wonderful play in e-commerce. I'm jealous sometimes. When you run out of a product, you go and buy a new one. But there's something about apparel that is a little bit compulsive, which I like.
Absolutely. Now, talk to me about your journey in e-commerce. How did you end up at New York & Company?
Yeah, it's kind of a fun story. I always was in apparel. I worked at J.Crew and Ralph Lauren, and I've always been drawn to that world. And as soon as I saw influencers come into the picture in 2012, my little enterprising self was like, things are changing here, right? So we had a whole team of consultants come in and tell us this is a new thing that's happening. And, I should have just picked up and become an influencer at that point, but I just knew that there was something online that was going to change the way people bought and sold things. And I got really into digital marketing as the next phase of my career. Ended up working at a leggings brand at the time, became one of the first Shopify Plus brands. It was a little bit of a darling in the yoga or yo-commerce world, as we used to call it. And just fell in love with seeing the amount of people you can reach at once versus having stores or having, I was doing magazine advertising, when I worked at Ralph Lauren, that was and in-home shopping, right? So this was a new way of doing business, and I just understood the scale really well. Left there when they decided to sort of close down the business. It was so successful that the owner retired, and is still retired to this day at the ripe age of 32. So I was like, they didn't think that could be me, for instance, but I saw the money and the opportunity there through working with this amazing founder, and ended up starting an agency. So I had all these partners, right? I had the whole full funnels. Now it worked a lot easier back then, right? Because you could get 10x ROAS on Facebook, no problem. Put a couple UCG on your site and you're good to go. But then an opportunity to work with a housewife in the Housewives franchise on Bravo came about, and I took that up and started that in parallel, which became a huge success. So I got to build a brand from the ground on up, and put my entrepreneur hat on and learn everything by, doing it myself. I think that's just the perfect way to understand the complexities of all the things that need to happen in an e-commerce storefront is by, experimenting with that on your own. I started by listening to 20-year-olds selling personalized bracelets on Shopify courses. And then I understood drop shipping. And then I started importing directly from China and selling and using strategic partnerships. And all of that was going great. And I was getting into stores, and it was a wonderful partnership we had there. And everything ended with a personal challenge in my life, or change, let's say. And I ended up needing to get a job for the first time. And I think it was like 10 years. And I was like, jobs, what is that? Like I knew e-commerce from, I had about 100 clients on the boutique Shopify agency world, and, knew it from that end. But wow, getting in my hands in at New York & Company, I was at Lord & Taylor as well. That was just a really unexpected pivot from having my, let's say, ability to make all the decisions on my own to working within a larger organization.
Most brands outgrow their legacy choices long before they switch. Bad platform decisions do not fail all at once. They fail slowly, then suddenly. First, it is one workaround, then another tool, then another integration that is duct taped on top. And eventually, your team is spending more time managing the stack than actually marketing to customers. Eventually, rebuilding is less painful than staying, usually when it starts to show up on the P&L. That's when scaling brands simplify and standardize on Klaviyo. Klaviyo is the AI-first B2C CRM. It combines your customer data, email, SMS, analytics, and customer experience tools into one platform, so you're not stitching together 5 different systems just to understand what your customers are doing. Your database updates in real time, your segments update automatically, your flows, campaigns, and personalization all run off the same source of truth. And that shift is why many brands are moving to Klaviyo. Brands like Dollar Shave Club have reduced total CRM stack costs by over 30% after consolidating onto Klaviyo. Multi-brand operators like Mark Fisher have migrated multiple brands and drastically reduced the time required to execute CRM marketing. And brands using email and SMS together inside Klaviyo are seeing massive ROI compared to running channels in separate platforms. The big unlock is simplicity and scale at the same time. Klaviyo is built for marketers, not for engineers. It is built for online businesses just like yours, and it is built for where e-commerce is going, not where it was 5 years ago. If you're running email and SMS across multiple tools, or you're on a legacy platform and thinking about your next phase of growth, it's probably time to look at Klaviyo. Go to klaviyo.com/honest and see why hundreds of thousands of brands have already made the switch. That's klaviyo.com/honest, klaviyo.com/honest. If you could, and we don't need to belabor it, but I just want to talk about, like, what do you think, like, what were your titles like going as you were kind of bouncing around and ending up to where you were now?
Yeah, well, I've never been into titles because I don't necessarily like hands-on keys, but I like operating, and I like the magic of e-commerce. I like knowing that if I flip a switch here, I can immediately see the impact it makes. And I think I came in as director, went up to a VP. I didn't care because I was like, I've already, done 10 million, last year in revenue. I needed to learn. So I looked at it as like an opportunity to get paid while understanding e-commerce at a larger level.
I was talking about even way before this, as you left your kind of magazine placement job and like got into your first role in e-commerce.
Oh, yes.
Just like that, I think that climb, just to let everyone else out there know, like, this is possible.
Yeah. I started as director of marketing when I went to school. Did a certificate. Again, you can't really teach these things.
Yeah. Oh no.
You had a lot of autonomy in a smaller brand. So, and a lot of, experimenting, and I had a small budget. It wasn't, it was a budget. It wasn't anything crazy. But I got to form those early relationships with some of the early vendors that have been bought and sold and pivoted many times. So, I've seen the arc of all the technology that gets associated with the store from around 2015 on. So it's been almost like 11 years now, which seems like not that long of a time, but it's completely changed, right? And I think, having left and then founded a really successful business, an agency, an app. I had an app at one point. And then coming back, I didn't care. I knew that I wanted to get my hands on, all the different budgets and technologies that are, serve even larger stores as we have today.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's something fun. Obviously on my side, agency side, we're working with a dozen brands at a time, but there's always, if we could focus and put all of our effort into one thing, it'd be a lot of fun just to see what the output of that would be for a while.
Yes. All agencies should run their own brands, right? Because they know so much more than the people sitting in seats like mine, right? We only know what we know. I always thought I would look at the brands and be like, I have all the shared wins. I know what works. But now that I'm on the buy side or the brand side, I understand things to be so much more complex. The way decisions get made is, through a series of different orgs or silos. And that's why things sometimes, I notice agencies and brands sometimes have that friction between them.
Yeah, it's I like to tell clients as, early in the sales process, it's our knowledge, we have compounding knowledge. We're learning 12 times faster than you guys will be, but that doesn't mean that what is going on in the brand isn't important. And that's there's this thing where you got to everyone involved needs to understand that the world isn't black or white. It is it is shades of gray. And the reason things aren't happening are probably have nothing to do with what you're thinking about. It is something completely different. It is, we need to focus more energy on this 3PL expansion. It has nothing to do with this landing page you want to test, right? It's just it's more about, how much thought and just brain power can be spread across the various things that these brands need to do.
Yeah. And thank you for summarizing. That would probably be the core skill that I've acquired over the last 3 years or so, is understanding how to move organizations and make change, and particularly around, AI.
Oh yeah.
Because that's the hardest one, right? Or the newest and greatest one, that is necessary. People do need to change the way they think and do business. And that's been so exciting to be a part of, in an organization.
Hey, store owners. Do you know how profitable your last big decision was on your Shopify store? Most testing tools make it easy to measure design changes, small tweaks, headlines, layouts, button colors. But what about the decisions that really move the business? Pricing changes, shipping rates, discount strategy, even new apps and tools. Those are usually left to gut feel. Intelligems brings CRO level clarity to decisions that live beyond the page. Brands like Ridge, Jones Road, and True Classics are using Intelligems to test pricing, offers, shipping, and more, and see exactly how each choice impacts profit. Momofuku used Intelligems to test multiple promotional offers ahead of Black Friday and identify the version that ultimately increased profit by about 28%. Mott & Bow used Intelligems to run structured pricing and offer tests that helped drive roughly a 30% increase in incremental profit. Dossier used Intelligems to run site-wide testing that resulted in about a 7.4% increase in profit per visitor across their store. They have a bunch more case studies on their website. I'm a big fan of Intelligems. We use Intelligems to test major site changes, new theme launches, and throughout ongoing CRO work. So when we are making decisions around design, pricing, offers, etc., we can be confident that those changes are actually driving more profit for our clients. So before you start changing pricing, promos, and major site experiences across your store all willy-nilly, you should probably test it first. If you're ready to decide confidently and grow profitably, head on over to Intelligems.io. That's INTELLIGEMS.io and use code HONEST for 10% off your first 3 months. That's Intelligems.io. Use code HONEST. obviously AI is huge and hot. How, I'm guessing this is just part of your job now is to implement this into, but how do you do it for a company that's technically over 100 years old?
Yeah. Well, with the caveat that New York and Company has pivoted more towards like a startup that's scaling because it's different than it was when it had stores and it was not just a D2C entity. So that makes it almost more aligned with what I did in my startup days. So I feel like I get to use a lot of the skills that I got from, being more experimental, being more agile, and applying them to a larger company now only because of the need for AI, right? And the fastness and the fast pacedness around it. When I first joined it was much more difficult to create any types of change, but we had to peel back the layers of an onion. I think a lot of it was replatforming to a liquid platform, getting things more integrated, and then redoing the tech stack. And so, I had that confidence going into it because I've kind of built something already, right? I think it would be hard if you haven't, seen that like you can do this, you can take risks, and you can pull back, right? If something doesn't work, I think there's a lot of status quo at organizations. Like we just follow like the easiest thing, and you don't want to own anything that could potentially cause harm. So you're not going to go forward and take on projects that, maybe weren't a great decision. I think I come into it with a lot of like everything forward is still a good decision as long as we're learning from it. So I think it's getting to know the people that work with you as almost like we work in tandem, almost we're all involved in each other's roles in some way, and which is a special way of operating that I don't know if it would work for every organization, but I think that AI gets us closer to understanding everyone's responsibility, and we all have a part to play in that, and then we all get a part to play in the win. I think it's not like I own AI or I own this part, and if it wins, it's going to be me that gets the credit. We all get it as a team.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up on the AI part, but you just said something that was amazing and I need to highlight it, which is like when you came in, you helped like modernize the tech stack and like basically build the Shopify experience that you kind of, I'm assuming you just kind of did what you did before that that worked at your previous successful business. I need you to explain to the audience how hiring people that have done the thing before that you're looking to do just makes things easier.
Okay, so yes, a lot of the staff had come off large brands because in retail, we look at brand, right? We're like, oh, if you worked here, you're going to be a good fit here. But they had all come off a Salesforce Commerce Cloud, every one of them. So working in a Shopify environment is almost the opposite of what the Salesforce environment is, having worked in both, but specializing in Shopify, to get the most out of it, you'd want someone who, had a Shopify partners account, understands the different components and with like the app and the integrations, the payments, all, the CS to the ERP and how all those things are connected, and has a good hold in the community that supports Shopify and the vendors that really work best with the Shopify ecosystem versus, just vendors in general who are really highly regarded in retail.
Yeah, I think that this even goes beyond just like, they hired you because you knew you could make these decisions for modernizing that stack. But it's like when you're hiring, like maybe some of these listeners are even on the brand side and they're hiring for people to do stuff, either agency, consultant, or full time. For any small team, and I have learned this the hard way, for any small team, you have to hire the person that's done the job before. And if you can't afford the person that's done the job before, you're probably not there to hire them yet. And you have to do it yourself. But you are hiring someone to take something off your plate. And if you have to train them how to do the job, so you have to learn how to do the job, and then you have to train them to do the job that you just learned how to do. Like that is just a really backwards way of thinking about it. You just need to hire someone that's done it before and then empower them to do it.
Yes, you need to cut through that knowledge base. There's so much institutional things about Shopify that aren't visible on the outside, right? And understand how those components work together is going to set you up for getting the benefit, because there are limitations to Shopify in a lot of ways, but there are so many more benefits using that platform. And that's just what I've been on for most of my career. So I'm excited to see either more brands that are larger get on Shopify or whatever's next. And there's a lot going on in that space as well.
Yeah. I mean, I still am of the opinion, and we've been Shopify partners forever. It's like, if there is a limitation, I think your business model's wrong, or it isn't like, you just shouldn't be you shouldn't be on Shopify in the first place. Like, it's got its quirks for sure. And you've got to solve for things in ways that are different than other platforms. But, that's just a process situation. That's not necessarily one platform is doing it a right way.
When you're a $300 million, $500 million business on Shopify, things get really, really, really hairy. And that's one thing I didn't have any visibility at all. I mean, we're talking about like, whether it's the Cloudflare connection, whether it's, using a private label credit card and you can't change the payments. There's a lot of things you can't know beforehand in a lot of situations. You just have to go through, but the bottlenecks are unreal. And I'm sure that's in any organization, right? But, having pared back our structure and complexity without those bottlenecks, now we're, so much more lean, so much more agile, and we're like positioned well for the age of AI that's, here and only getting bigger.
I have been in business for nearly 20 years, and very few companies I have hired in that time have performed as well as Electric Eye. They have knowledgeable staff, and our project was delivered on time and on budget. Electric Eye has exceeded my expectations, and I look forward to working with them again. That is a direct quote from one of our clients at Electric Eye. Electric Eye is a Shopify Plus partner that has helped over 100 brands migrate, redesign, and optimize their stores since 2016. If you'd like to increase your conversion rate, average order value, and revenue per session, we are the true Shopify experts you've been looking for. Right now, we're offering a free diagnostic to qualified brands that reach out and mention the podcast. Visit electriceye.io today to schedule a call and send us a message. Find out why we have over 50 5-star reviews in the Shopify partner directory. Again, that's electriceye.io, electriceye.io. Let's talk about that. So by modernizing the stack, getting everything talking together, streamlining these processes. So basically, you have a bunch of data that you can now feed into these cool technologies. I guess a 2-part question, or just answer it however way you'd want, is like, how are you now using AI? Like, what is a specific problem it's trying to help you solve? Or like, is there something that you've implemented on the website that's super powered by AI at this point?
Yeah. Getting discovered and relevance inside of, any agentic AI platform is going to be really important moving forward, but there isn't a lot of revenue there currently. So, that's half or a quarter of my brain is thinking about that at all times. Like that's important. We have to keep working on our agentic storefront. Shopify has made that easier than, possibly other platforms to, at least dip your toe in and improve. But, tactically, we working on, using AI for chat mostly, and implementing a post-purchase, customer service widget and pre-sale as a secondary phase, and assisting people in how they buy. I think that is really the stair step between what we're going to be discovering on ChatGPT, on Gemini. If we're not completely there yet, how can we bring that experience into the storefront is really where we're focused.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, anytime that you can be asking your customers questions like pre-sale, you're just going to learn more and more. And then all those learnings compound to help you make better recommendations. And even you take a step back from there, make better purchasing in the future where you're like, you know what? Yellow outsells everything else, so we should buy more yellow. Like all this information is just super useful to have now that you have all these components talking together. Before I let you go, is there anything that I didn't ask you about that you think would resonate with our audience today?
Yeah, I think, another way you could look at AI and how it's servicing commerce is just the fact that all platforms have more data and have access, right, to the AI. So another vendor we're working with is Rocked, for instance, and we had previously worked with them in the past and had parted ways. And this round coming, we noticed that they serve ads, right? So one channel for us, other than like just paid media, CRM, loyalty, is a retail commerce channel. So getting to be monetized off of our traffic in any way possible, so the store can maintain another revenue source, and serving post-purchase ads, and also some network ads on other retailers through Rokt has been a really different experience this time around, because the AI is that smart. It understands the recommendations. Like, it didn't have as much, I guess, a great experience with the customers maybe before, but now we are like, what can we do to use AI to, bring back former ways that we used to monetize on, that are better experiences for our customer.
Hey everybody, just a quick reminder, please like this video and subscribe if you haven't. We're releasing interviews like this every week, so don't miss out. Now back to the interview. Rokt is, I believe they bought AfterShip, and they are a post-purchase solution in the Shopify, well, in all the ecosystems, but Shopify, as they really went in on it. But from my knowledge, is something that they do that really is different than anybody else in the ecosystem. Is it isn't just like a post-purchase upsell for another widget on your store. This is now offering you things from other stores, and you're getting paid when people click on those offers. So it's like kind of helping you generate income if you have the traffic to support it. So I just wanted to explain that to the audience, that it's like, oh, this is like a different thing.
Yeah, no, three things about that. So they partnered with AfterSell, not AfterShip, who we love AfterShip as well. That's like another also thing we could talk about, is we use like a checkout plus. So they allow you to charge customers a little bit extra, but have a package protection and free returns in most cases, which is another great outcome for both the brand and both the customer. So in the case of Rokt with AfterSell, so you can upsell your own products in conjunction with upselling offers from, complementary brands, not any competing brands, but vice versa. The new product that we're going to be baiting with them is now we can sell our products on big box stores like your Targets or JCPenney's or stores that we know our customers do also shop at. We can serve ads from our store that are so relevant to what they had purchased in the cart. And I don't think, it wouldn't make sense to be, paying for ads on a store like that before the AI could serve those recommendations properly. But now the opportunity is to be able to be visible, to have top of mind in a huge audience that we don't have access to, and only pay per performance. So it's like another win-win that AI is bringing to us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It is a super interesting channel to explore if it makes sense for your business. Now, Laura, is there anything else that I forgot to ask you about before I let you go?
Oh, partnerships. Working with a group of folks in the retail industry. A lot of them are veterans, and they started a organization to pair vendors and partners, which brands and vendors would go partner together and have conversations about how to better work together, how to win on both sides, how to go through RFPs, how to, respect each other's processes and economics around getting deals done so that we can learn off each other, right? There's a lot going on in the vendor side. They have also a ton of shared wins and understandings and a lot of their fingers on the pulse of what's coming down the pipeline for AI that brands don't have, because we're trying to drive revenue, right? At all times. We're not looking out in the future as much. And I think as we move forward this year into next year, as if, things get sold more so on AI platforms, we're going to need to rely on each other more and more as we may lean out, we might expand at different times as these changes are happening so quick. And I love being a part of this organization. It's called Vendors in Partnership. and they host a gala and they award vendors for exemplary service. I mean, where do you see that? Where, you know, a lot of the times they get shoved to the side and the brands get all the spotlight, right? So we want to cheer on the people that are championing AI in new and different ways and changing the landscape of commerce, because we're right alongside them, right? We're working in tandem, and it's going to become more and more important because, you know, it's the people that are going to make the decisions. The AI is going to do a lot of the fundamental work, but the people behind those are going to be going in the right direction because they're relying on each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? I think that we would love to win an award. So now I'm going to have to join this program and get up on that stage. Laura, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show and sharing all those amazing insights. If people want to get a hold of you, where can they find you online?
Yes, you can find me on LinkedIn or Cantor. I'll leave in the show notes the vendors and partnership information as well as the Rocked information. You can get up on Rocked really, really quickly and start making money while you figure out what new AI tool you want to buy with it. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Chase.